Good to see everybody. I'm John Lee, St. Louis Real Estate Investors Association. We're just talking with Jim and Laura. Glad to have Jim back. He just had some things that he was dealing with that we're not going to discuss, but we're happy to have him here. And if he can chime in anytime he wants. But anyway, we're here to. I'm sorry.
He just got out of the slammer. I'm just kidding.
Okay. The stint is over. No, it's good to have him back. We're glad to see everybody here. I guess I don't really have a lot of announcements except if you didn't join us the other night for Dale Sweet, I would say go to the members section of STLREIA.com and watch that video. He's the replay is really good. He had a lot of good insights on that. And in fact, we were talking about a couple of the things this morning on and some of the stuff I actually learned at from Catherine Davis, though, at the Missouri Tax Sale Seminar, which is coming up next year. I know we've talked about that a little bit, and I know some of you guys, good to see you. You're on the waiting list. As soon as we have the details, we'll get that out. If you're not, I would highly recommend getting on that because that's where you just find out all the top information from the top people on the Missouri tax sales, and that will be June 20th of next year. But he talked about a couple of things that Catherine Davis had talked about before, like such things as if you, just being a real person, because a lot of times you'll buy these properties and they have occupants in them. And what do? And a lot of people, and I've seen this happen, they'll go up there and say, hey, I own this property, you need to get out. Well, there's a lot of, can't just say that with people if they've been living there, even if because sometimes they wanted to pay rent and they didn't know who to pay it to. I mean, there's just a lot of factors. But one of the things Dale said, which I thought was pretty key, it's pretty much a gold nugget to pay attention to, is just act like a person. He said, let's go there with like a tray of brownies and say, hey, I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm the new owner. I know you've been here for a while and looks like we might need to do some updates and things like that, and get a relationship with the people, then get them to maybe, in fact, we were talking a little bit about this earlier, but maybe go ahead and since you don't have a lease and you're just taking over the property, but go ahead and just talk to them and say, hey, maybe the first month or two, we won't charge you anything, but let's get the paperwork going. And this is what we plan on doing. Then you'll have a tenancy relationship. And then if something happens down the road, you could actually take them to court, because the way everything is right now, we even have a hard time getting rid of squatters. I know Missouri just passed the law where it supposedly makes it easier, but it's still better to, it goes back with the old thing. It's easier to catch the bees with honey than vinegar. So, I mean, it's just one of those kind of things that you just want to pay a little more attention to how you deal with people, because we're still all people at the end of the day, And one reason people get into the situation of tax sale problems, they have other problems in their life. That's what I found, as time goes on, is just there's a lot of other things. Taxes are probably the least thing on their list right now. When people come up to the tax sale, there's probably a lot of other things. And if you can just act like a person a lot of times, just, kind of like what Dale was talking about, that'll get you pretty far. So anyway, do mark your calendar for next month. We have the people actually from cost segregation coming in from Utah. This will be a really good meeting too. If you do have any investment properties, this is going to be some way that there's some things going on right now. You'll get energy credits and you'll just get deductions off your taxes. And I know a lot of us here do have investment properties, and they're going to come in and they're flying in just for us to do a meeting just for our group, which I was pretty excited to have them. So that's cost segregation. They will be here on the 17th of September. So do mark your calendars. We should have another Zoom option, virtual option. Of course, you can always find that on the website once we know a little bit more about it. So I think that's about all I have for right now. Laura, do you want to do our disclaimer and then we'll get started?
Sure. Good morning and welcome, everyone. First, I'd like to do a bit of housekeeping. Feel free to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. Please be mindful of everyone else by muting yourself while others are speaking. You're welcome to put any contact information that you want to share into the chat. We meet here to share deals, look for deals and solutions we have in need with our real estate. We are not your financial advisors, attorney, or accountants. We do not endorse or recommend any specific solutions or contractors here. You're advised to do your own due diligence to your own satisfaction before you invest. The First Friday of each month is Ask the Attorney with Ms. Catherine Davis. Our meetings are typically recorded, so only share what you want others to know.
Thank you, Laura. And we do meet a lot of good people here, and I know we've talked about that, but always, as Laura just said, do your own due diligence, because you just never know. I always like to say, I guess, I think it was President Reagan, trust but verify, but always verify. Even if you think you know somebody, you might want to do just a little bit of background just to make sure. Referrals are always good, but just talk to maybe some of the other people that have used them in the past. And I know that's one reason a lot of us meet here, because we can, we can trust a lot of the people here. So anyway, does anybody have anything, I guess, that they would like to buy or sell? I guess we can start there. See a lot of smiling faces this morning. Everybody anticipating the sales on Monday. Actually, I'm anticipating the ones that don't get sold. I know I was talking with Laurel. We met earlier this morning, and that's one of my favorite ways to get properties is the ones over the counter, the ones that don't sell at the tax sales. And every county is different. That's the beauty of Missouri. That keeps a lot of people out of here, which is kind of interesting, because you'd think it's a pretty good place to buy properties for back taxes, but a lot of people don't know the process. And all the counties, there are 115, which is, well, entities is what, a couple of them are cities, but they all have a different process, and they're all different. I know I've been accumulating lists this week, because a lot of them put their list out and then they disappear after next week. And some of them will give them to you after this fact. Some of them won't. I like to get these because these are a great source for leads too. And I've gotten a lot of properties this way. We kind of talked about that because people usually have other things going on. But you look at the first and second year sales, which typically, depending on the county, the first year tax sales, 3 years of back taxes, even if you went to the auction and bought it, you would not own that property. You could potentially get a lien depending on what the situation is, but you wouldn't own the property. But these are the people that I like to contact, because like I said, they usually have other things going on in their life, and just a good source to get off-market properties that very few people know about. That's typically, I like to deal with them that way. I love the tax sales. I've never been to an auction, but I've dealt with literally thousands of properties, over 3,000 so far that I know of. And most of them are small little ones. And, we kind of talked a little bit about that. And I know Laurel, you and Eric, and I see a couple other people here too that kind of know about that. We know we can get properties for $500 that we can sell for, several $1,000s. So just a good way to do it. Anyway, that's about all I have to say about tax sales. The other thing is the lunch coming up will be the second. It's usually the first Friday of the month, I believe, at Applebee's. But we have Labor Day coming up on the 2nd of September. So it will be on the 9th this year. I mean, this month, September.
On the Monday.
Which is Monday. Yeah, the second Monday, which is typically the first Monday.
Hey, John.
Yes. Yeah, Jay.
Did you recommend Kira to me?
Did I recommend her?
Yeah.
I
For
don't
a
know.
house?
Possibly. Why? Did she get it?
Well, I looked at it. I need to get back with her, but it's not really a house. It's a it's a bunch of rubble, so it needs to be cleared out and the land sold, and it's not in a good area. But I was just wondering, so I'm still looking for land in or a house or houses in the St. Louis area that need to be fixed and flipped. The worse they are, the better, but not as bad as what I saw. And I'm also a private money broker. I find funds for fix and flips, fix and keeps, and refi reboots. I also do commercial and multifamily. Matter of fact, anything in the real estate market, I can find you funds for. So I'll put my information in the chat, but let these Roman fingers do the Roman for you, okay?
Thank you, Jay. And that, in
Yep.
fact, it's one of them. I don't know if you've gotten the list from Dale that he has on his website, but those are maybe some of the properties you from the first and second year you may want to look at and contact those people, because you can find some that are not in as bad a shape, typically the ones that go after the third sale.
Right.
If you can hunt the people down, that's the key a lot of times, because they don't want to be found.
Yep.
And
Yep,
that's
I know that.
but if you find them, I mean, those are gold mines. And we kind of talked about that a little bit this morning. I mean, I like to, a lot of people, and there's nothing wrong with, but they'll say, yeah, send out 1,000 letters or 2,000 letters or whatever, and then you'll get 10, and then you got to sift down there to get one deal. I personally like to do my research up front a little bit and send out 5 letters and get one property, or send
Right.
out 10 and get one. That's just
Right.
what I like to do. I mean, it's not a complete guarantee, but to me, that just narrows down everything.
And who has that list?
Well, on Dale Sweet's
Dale
website,
Sweets,
you get a
okay.
list of that. Yeah, he's really good about keeping you informed. You probably are. I don't know if you did, but you want to get on his mailing list if you did not the other night, because he sends that stuff out for city and the county whenever they come available. Because the city's a
Okay.
little different procedure, but that's a really good list to get on, because he'll keep you informed on that.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Yeah, and those are good people. You just got to kind of look them up and then chase them down. I mean, I like to use truepeoplesearch.com. That's a good one that I use a lot. It's not 100% accurate, but what I like about them too is a lot of times they will tell you possible possible acquaintances, relatives, spouses, things like that. You can look up previous addresses, possibly parents, or sometimes I found a lot of people, like when they get divorced, and women are typically hard to find because they'll change names. A lot of things happen, but I found them just by, kind of hunting them down a little bit through there.
Yeah, I like to use benverified.com.
Been verified.
Yeah.
Yeah, that side charges though, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. I use free sites until I have a reason to where it justifies to pay it. But everything I usually tell you is free up front. But been verified is a good one. But True People Search, they have some paid stuff on there, but you can use them free right out of the gate.
Okay, thank you.
So that's a good one to have. So did you let's see, can you give us your contact information too? I don't know if you put it in the chat. If you could do
Yep,
that.
I'll be putting it in the chat here briefly.
And if you don't mind saying it verbally too, for anybody watching the replay, that's always helpful.
Yeah, my name is Jay Roman, and my phone number is 314-513-1982.
82. Okay, and do you have an email address, or do you prefer people to call you?
I prefer them to call me.
Okay, excellent. All right, and again, what kind of property were you looking for? It didn't really matter, I think, in what area, but you were looking for the worse, the better.
Yeah, yep, that's what I'm looking for.
Okay. All right, thank you, Jay. All right, anybody else have anything they'd like to share with us here? I know got a lot of things going on right now. A lot of good stuff.
Hey, I'm looking for something.
Sure, Eric.
I'm looking for somebody to do a roof assessment. What it is, I had a roof put on my house about 3 years ago, and I lost a receipt somewhere. And the person that put the roof up, they're no longer in business. And I just changed insurance companies. So in order to get the less of a deductible, they need somebody to, see, how old the roof is. So that's what I'm looking for. If anybody know anything about that.
Anybody know any roofers out there?
I think I have a good one. We used him for gutters and to double check on the idiot contractor that did the roof the first time. But I have to look it up. But I'll get it to you and I'll put it in the chat.
Thank you, Renee.
Okay, thank you.
Very helpful. So you just changed insurance companies? Is that what you said, Eric?
Well, actually, what happened was the insurance that I normally had, they dropped me. And because the fact that the reasoning being was that they no longer, do insurances for, houses or whatever. Normally it was a car insurance, and they said they no longer do that for houses anymore. So they gave me to a certain date to find me a new insurance. So I had to go out and get a new insurance for my house. So that's what happened with me.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot going on with insurance right now with all the claims and stuff. I know around the country, there's been a lot of them been dropped and changing. I've talked to a lot of people with problems. I think Dave Soto, I don't see him on here now, but he was a few months ago, he was talking about one of his multi-families that, and I don't remember the exact figures, but it jumped to something like $17,000 a year.
Wow.
Which is, I mean, it makes it unaffordable. And I've talked to people in other parts of the country the same way on some of these larger or mid-sized multi-families. And in order to make them cash flow, because a lot of times you cannot raise, if you're used to paying 5,000 or 6,000 a year and it jumps to 17, you've got to get the money somewhere. It's either out of your pocket or you raise the rents. Well, a lot of them are not, luxury apartments. And so the people cannot afford the extra amount of money that you have to make them cash flow. I know with the interest rates, that same kind of thing. We were talking to a guy the other day. They deal with in New York. He deals with a lot of multifamily housing, and they have for years. But some of their properties they had to refinance because most of the multifamilies are adjustable. They're like 3 years or 5 years, and then you've got to go back in and refinance them. I know I've had a lot of those over the years. They consider them commercial, but then with the new rates, they don't cash flow. Well, some of these people are bringing like $100,000 cash or $200,000 cash to the closing table just to refinance their property with the same company. Otherwise, they've got to raise the rents and they just don't cash flow. So that's a big problem we got going around the country right now. And in fact, Jay, that might be a good place to start looking for some some properties where the people's insurance have gone up.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of stuff going on right now around, in the investment world. And Eric, you may want to, I'll see if I can get his contact too, but Jim Schubert, the guy who did, he did cleaning and restoration. He was at our main event back in June. He does look at properties too and evaluates them. So I don't know if he does roofs, but he may know someone. So let me get his contact information for you, and you could just give him a call and see what he could come up with, because he might know somebody.
Okay. I would have to do it in about 3 weeks though.
Yeah, you're going out of town, aren't you?
No, I'm already here.
Oh, you're already there?
Yes.
When did you get there?
Yesterday.
Okay. And where are you at? Tell everybody.
Germany.
You're in Germany. So good to see you.
And it's very hot here.
Is it?
Yes, 85 degrees.
Holy cow. So let's see. So that would be about 26 Celsius? 27?
About 30. Close
About
to
30. Okay. Yeah, I have people around that I talk to in some of my other groups, and they don't know Fahrenheit. So I try to figure that out sometimes.
Well, I learned this from a German person. It's what it is, you get let's say, like, for example, if it's 25, what it is, the method is you divide it by 5, plus, what's it, divided by 5, and, see, divided by 5 plus, let's see, divided by, hold on, I'll get to you in a.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of tricky trying to figure those out. I know when we were in high school, they told us to learn the metric system because that's all we're going to ever use.
Okay, I got it.
They didn't do that.
Divided by 5 times 9 plus 32.
Divide by 5 plus 9 plus 32?
No, divided by 5 times 9 plus 32.
Times 9 plus 32. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the Celsius we're doing that with to get to the Fahrenheit. Oh, I think you're muted there.
Celsius, divide by 5 times 9 plus 32 And that's how you get yourself from Celsius to Fahrenheit.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So that's our math quiz for today. Well, thank you. It looks like Renee has a roofing. Can you unmute Renee and tell Eric about that? Spartan Roofing looks like. I think she put a link in there.
Yeah, I put a link straight to their website. I think the owner, the roofer's name is Patrick, and I think his wife is the one that, does all the intake and stuff. And also, I think you mentioned that you were trying to determine the age of the roof for the insurance company. You could also check, assuming that the work was done legitimately, you could check to see if there was a permit pulled for the address, at whatever city it's in. If and when one was pulled, and that would tell you the age of the roof if it exists.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Renee. Very. All right, let's see. All right. Anybody else have anything they'd like to share here? And I'm still looking for that other phone number for you too, Eric. I'll have that here as soon as I find him. Yeah, Blake, you can unmute yourself. You got something to say here? Feel free.
Yeah, just kind of while we have a lull, I just have a general question for the group. I didn't know if anyone had experience with, on one of my properties, I had a few contractors that did some work this year that was over $600, which from my understanding triggers the need for the 1099 miscellaneous form. And I was just wondering if anyone had any experience with that, just tips and tricks. Sometimes it's kind of hard to get the contractors to fill those out or to fill it out correctly. I'm just wasn't sure if people had any ideas, like if you fill it out for them as much as possible, or if you send it to them partially filled out and they fill out the rest. I'm just trying to figure out if anyone had any advice or experience with that.
Were those individuals, Blake, or were those companies?
I think one is a company, and one or two of them might be individuals, like with LLCs.
Okay, that's something you'll probably, every situation is different. You probably have to check with your CPA or your accountant, but
Yeah,
typically we use, if it's, I don't like using individuals, although we have, because that's where you kind of get into some things like that. But typically if they have a business that's registered, you can just pay the business and then they're responsible, but don't hold me to that. That's something you're going to have to talk to your accountant about. I don't know. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to share about that?
My understanding is that if it's a corporation, then you don't do a 1099. They don't do those. And so it would be an individual. And I guess if the individual has an LLC, but it's just that individual, so it's not then that's not a corporation, then that's where it gets into it. But
yeah,
I would certainly check with an accountant, that prepares tax returns. I would ask them about that.
That's
Yeah, so
correct, Laurel. My understanding, and I used to teach payroll law, that if a corporation does not receive a 1099, but an individual does.
Yeah, I think that's a good explanation. I know even with my corporations, my LLCs, when I've done stuff, sometimes they will do that anyway, and which I don't have any problem with it. But that's where you would not put your social security number. I just put my federal ID.
EIN.
So
Yeah, I appreciate all the advice. I wasn't sure. My accountant just kind of told me, hey, you'll need to send 1099s and save receipts. So I was going to ask the group first and before I follow up with them, but I appreciate everyone's advice.
Also, you're probably not going to track them down, to get them to fill out a W-9 after the fact.
Mm.
So if you are, I mean, like, just from, I can tell you this from experience, in several businesses that I've done. You know, if you don't get the W-9 in the, in the, initially along with the, your contract, it's probably not going to happen. I'm not going to say for 100% because I'm not an attorney, but definitely talk to your accountant. Definitely find out. Normally, if they have an LLC, if it's an individual with an LLC, it's complicated. Again, I'm not an accountant. I'm also not a lawyer. But the thing is, like, for example, for me, because I did not elect to be an S corporation, I'm as an individual, since I don't have a partner in one of my LLCs, I reported on my tax return on a Schedule C, but I am still a corporation. It's different. An LLC is a corporate structure, and whether you're an S corporation or not is a tax status, and they're different. Again, not a lawyer, not an attorney, so definitely talk to your accountant. But they're different. A lot of people don't understand that a tax status is different from a corporate structure.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's a great point, Renee, too, because people will. I'm the same way. 100%. Nobody's ever filled out anything after the fact. Even with lien waivers and things like that, we just did one recently, and what we did is we had the title company put it together, and then the last payment the corporation did not get until they signed the lien waiver, because once you pay the people, you might as well kiss it goodbye. You're never going to get that. And it's okay. We trust the company, that did the work, but you don't know who they hired out, the contractors. And if for some reason they didn't get paid, there could be a problem. And I'll tell you, the experience we actually did have is they had a Johnny on the spot put out here where we were building. It was $100 a month. And they didn't pay them. Okay. It went on for 9 months, and they kept telling them, oh, we're going to send it and all this. The people came out here, and actually I didn't even know this, but they never heard from the contractors or anything like that. And I'm not saying they weren't going to pay them, because they did pay them, but they were threatening me to put a lien on the home for the $900 and some odd dollars or whatever. And so what we did is we got a complete a lien waiver. We had the title company put it together with their company and then with us, just to make sure it was done right. Because I've done it myself before, but I always like it when somebody else does it that, like that, and we'll file it. So the last money we gave them, we made sure that everything was done right, and they had to go in there and get the lien waiver signed and notarized. And then that took us off the hook of worrying about anything in the future. Because, you just don't know what somebody might do. But as far as get your stuff up front, and what a lot of people will do will break it down into payments, like Blake, like what you were talking about. I need this paperwork. You can go ahead and get started. Here's half the money to get going, or whatever you agree on, a third of the money. Then I will pay you, another third when you're halfway done. And then once you have everything to me, you'll get the end of the, get the final check once I have exactly what I need. In this case, it might be, people have a problem filling out W-2s, especially when it comes to their Social Security number. And you can't blame them, because there's a lot of fraud and a lot of scams going on out there. Not that you would be one because you're a property owner, but a lot of people have problems doing that. And they will almost 100% not give you what you need after the fact. So good points to look at here. But check with your accountant to know for sure, because we all have individual situations. One size does not fit all when it comes to taxes or investing. It just doesn't. We're all individuals, unique like everybody else. It's all individually done.
Yeah, you really have to be specific and give direction to these accountants.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, everyone. This is my first meeting. I actually work in the commercial industrial sector, but I created a nonprofit called Gateway Rehab Foundation, and we're all about rehabbing homes to provide housing for low to moderate income families. And so in reference to that question about the W-9, in the commercial industrial sector, it's a packet. And all of that is included, and they have to fill it out from the get. So if you want to set the standard and make sure you don't have problems later, make it part of the contract. Because that's just across the board how it's done.
Excellent, excellent. That's so true. Because it's a federal law that they have to give you a W-9 before they do anything. Because a W-9 indicates whether they're a corporation or not, and whether they have to file taxes or not. So that's why you get everything up front, including that W-9.
And also, I am looking for any tips for my nonprofit. We were part of Give STL Day this year, and for the first time, and we did raise some funds, but we're wanting to buy the first property, and it sounds like you guys are going to like tax sales for those. Are there some other ways to get that property and get going?
Yeah, yeah, I would love to know more about what you do here. I would not recommend your first property to be from a tax sale at all. I mean, that's just what I would not recommend. I mean, you obviously can do what you want, but I would get a lot more education before I went in and bought a tax property, because there's just a lot of things you need to know about before you do that. This is a good place to look for properties though, and talk to other people, kind of like-minded people, and also people that are, wholesalers, rehabbers, people in finance. What type of property are you actually looking for? Ann, in fact, I'd like to know a little bit more. You said your Gateway Rehab is the name of your foundation. Is it foundation, or is it a company, or?
It's foundation. It's a nonprofit organization. I guess I could tell you our mission is to liberate despondent neighborhoods and revitalize them with remodeled and updated homes, giving clients the knowledge through training, counseling, and financial assistance they need to make the choice of becoming a homeowner. So affordable property is lacking, of course, probably almost everywhere. And so we want people to be able to afford a home. So we will sell our homes depending on what we put into it. We will sell them from 50 up to 100,000, and that's it. And then 4 times a year, we're gonna coordinate with corporations in the St. Louis area, and then we're gonna rehab a home and sell it for 40,000. So we'll be working with Catholic Charities Beyond Housing for them to pre-approve the people. And then they'll be able to, because they'll have a mortgage, because that's the way they work with them and help them with that. And then we'll do like a raffle, and this is the person that's gonna win the house for $40,000.
Are you doing the financing yourself, your corporate, your foundation, or are you getting the money from somewhere else to finance them?
No, Catholic Charities and Beyond Housing, they help them with the financing. So when they come to me, they will already have financing secured, and we're gonna fix the house up, and it'll be a raffle for the 40,000. And we'll do it once a quarter.
Oh, very interesting. Okay. And are there certain neighborhoods you work in, or is it?
We want to work all over, because we just, anywhere that there's like rundown houses and empty homes in a neighborhood. I grew up in the city of St. Louis, and anytime there was like a vacant house for a long period of time, we used to be afraid to walk by there. Of course, because the city, it would be unkept, grass would be tall. And I don't know, we watched too many scary movies when we were kids. So we were scared. So I want to alleviate that problem. That is a big thing for me. And we also have a transitional housing program that helps women coming out of prison convicted of a nonviolent crime to reunite with their children. So we will have homes all around in different school districts because we want kids to stay in their same school when they're trying to reconnect. And we will have it furnished. And then we will have a 24-hour hotline from the fire department, police, hospitals, American Red Cross, and United Way. So if they get burned out in the middle of the night, somebody's going to come and get them, or the Red Cross will drop them off when we give them the address where we have a home at.
How do you plan on having the work done? Do you have people that you're gonna hire or have volunteer, or do you expect to hire a contractor? And I'm only asking because in St. Louis, I love the idea, and I'm 100% like my whole, like one of my missions is affordable housing for everyone everywhere. But the reason I'm asking is that property, you can get property for cheap, you can get land for cheap, you can get rundown property for cheap, but contractor prices are, sometimes, or at least in my experience, it's, a lot of times you'll pay more than the home is worth to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's why I was asking, like, do you have if you have a plan for that, just something to think about. I mean, you don't have to, you don't have to explain it here, but it's like just something to keep in mind that maybe, if you don't have a plan for that, to like, kind of figure out a way, like maybe find people that are retired that were in the trades to help you, that might be willing to do, to work for a stipend. I don't know. But I just think what you're doing is great. And I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. I have several people, of course, that I've met already. And one of the things that after I sell enough homes, I will hire my own carpenter. And generally, most carpenters know some electrical and some plumbing. They have more than one trade to survive. And so I have been talking to different people, and I have several people on board that I've known for a long time. And a lot of them, as you said, are about to retire. And so I'll be able to use them as kind of my head person, and then maybe start training others through youth programs and working with other entities that prepare people for the construction industry. That's is
great, because you're getting them an education at the same time. That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the big things because my construction company is MBE, DBE, and WBE, of course. And everybody that's ever worked for me was not MBE, DBE, or WBE. I only had one woman that I was able to get from the union to get out on the job. And so they have all these rules that they want this percentage minority on the construction site, but still there's just me. So it's not really happening. So if I could help to develop more youth and women minorities to get into the business, that would be fantastic to help reach those percentage goals that the city and county have for those.
Oh, for sure. And the thing is that it's like, I was in high school in the 80s, and like, it was absolutely unheard of for a girl to take like mechanic shop or learn any of that. And it's just that I think it's more of an education thing, less that it's not something that women want to do, and more of they don't know they can do it. And I got discouraged a lot when I was a firefighter. I'd have people just come up to me randomly and being like, you can't be a firefighter, blah blah blah, you can't do this, you can't do that. Luckily though, my dad had told me that I could do anything I wanted. I was very lucky in that respect. And so when somebody said you can't do that, I never it never crossed my mind that they could be right. But there's a lot, you know, like it's not just education, it's also the mindset, you know, and what women and minorities have been told all their life about what they can or cannot do. Or even people with you know, physical and mental disabilities, you know, been told like, oh, you can't do that, you know, you have asthma, or you have, you know, like some kind of mobility issue or whatever. So, you know, it's a kind of an uphill thing, but I love the idea of seeing, you know, people who are not traditionally in the trade succeed, especially because you don't end up with, you know, $100,000 in student loans if you go to a trade school or have an apprenticeship.
Sure.
So yeah, sorry guys, digressing, but this is like something I feel really, really positive and strong about.
Awesome. Yeah, well, you're right. Whenever I go into the owners meeting, I'm generally the only Black female there. So, and there's only very few females because I'm in the glass and glazing industry. We do windows, doors, curtain wall, stuff like that. So, yeah, very few women.
And unfortunately, I'm sure you get a lot of, when is your boss coming?
Well, they never think I'm the boss, but they're getting used to it now. Most people know my face now. Yeah, so any ideas anybody has, my email is ann@gatewayrehabfoundation.org. And I would really like to get that going because it's the metro area, so we're gonna work in Missouri and Illinois. And my big goal is to get as many kids in the construction industry as possible.
Could you put your email in the chat?
Sure, I can do that.
Thank you.
And I got a question on, you say you're gonna do this by lottery. And there will be people that are pre-approved for the loans, correct?
Well, that's for the 4 houses a year that we basically donate for $40,000.
Okay, how do you pick the other ones? I realize you're helping a lot of people, but do you have any that you know, what is the qualifications to get in to work with you guys and get into some housing? Is there
So
criteria?
we're working with Beyond Housing and Catholic Charities, and they have a pre-qualification for a home program. And what they do is pre-qualify people and help them get a loan and repair their credit if that's what they need. And so once they are ready, then we can show them whatever we have available.
Okay, so you don't just take anybody off the street that needs a home, because that you know, it does cover a lot of people, but I was just wondering.
Yeah,
that
we
restricted
can.
to those?
We can. And then if they, don't have a loan or have a down payment, we will refer them to one of those agencies that will help them to get ready. And
Okay,
so they can, so they can get in our program, even if they're not ready right now. We want to help them get ready because a lot of people have not been taught how to handle credit. A lot of people don't know anything about home ownership. And then we teach them different things like, this is your electrical panel. There should not be any pennies in there. There should not be any, don't let anybody do any stuff like that. And then we do have, we add what is called a home repair warranty for our people. So up to 2 years, they can call us if they have a need, and then we can see if this is something we can help them with. And if it is, we'll help them or refer them to someone. And we'll also, if it's needed, help them with the cost because we want to keep the house up. We want to be able to drive by and say, this is one of our homes and it looks beautiful, right? So we don't want to drive by and it looks like, so we also have what we call counselors And the counselors, we checked to see if the neighbors on that block owned that home, because that was one of problems. I used to work for Citigroup in the originations department, and we Citigroup paid money to Habitat for Humanity, and we went and built a house. And so, but right next door to the house we built was a house that was run down, had been burned out. It looked horrible. So I said, okay, I don't want it to be that way. So we will either get the city to give us the house if it's really just totally rotted out or whatever, and we're going to demo it. And but if it's a house that can be fixed up, we're going to ask for that also. And we're going to interview neighbors, and if they're the owners, we will help them with repairs so that when we leave, the whole block is going to be revitalized. Because our theme is we rehab houses and people, one block at a time.
I love that, Ann. It's such a need, and I think you hit on so many good points. Education is huge, and is it a place where there's happy homeowners or just disgruntled renters? You know, and there's a lot of things that happen. I mean, I've gotten a lot of properties that were free over the years, and some of them I wish I wouldn't have taken looking back, but that's another story for another time. But a lot of the properties, though, it depends on the neighborhood. And in fact, there's some of them that you know, sometimes you want the worst house in a good neighborhood. Sometimes you don't want the best house in not so good a neighborhood. But there's, I do know somebody wants to live in every neighborhood. That's my experience. So you do kind of got to go with what you're saying here. Look at the neighbors, and the education is huge. I mean, because we're not taught this kind of stuff. I think, you know, one of the, I think you should have a couple of classes in high school being landlords and tenants, you know, just for a semester. I think you should be a landlord once and then see what goes through everything and go through the steps and then be a tenant. You'll have a much better understanding of where people come from, because it's us and them. And that's not how it is. You know, I've been on both sides, and, you know, and a lot of people are just not taught. But home ownership, that takes everything to a new level. You know, Laura and I do a lot of owner financing, and that's the only thing I'll do anymore because of that, because I want happy homeowners. I don't want, you know, a disgruntled tenant because something went wrong. I want somebody that has the flowers out in the yard, loves their neighborhood, wants their, you know, wants everything to look good, knows their neighbors. And what you're saying is exactly that. And we're not taught that kind of stuff. So I think, you know, we really would like to talk to you a lot more with our group. Maybe you could come and speak with us more about that. You know, if you
Awesome, we would love to.
that would be great. Yeah, because you've got such a need. And even on like the contractors you're talking about, we looked at something about a year ago, because that's one of the big problems we have in our country is people that are electricians or plumbers or just regular general trades, because everybody's told to go to college and they come out with, you know, a different, not that there's anything wrong with it, like, but a philosophy degree or political science or whatever, and they don't know how to change the washer on their leaky pipe. And that's a big need. And the people, if you see the people out here right now, the actual workers, you know, the ones that really have gone and done kind of what Renee said and went to a trade school, they're the ones with the new trucks that are paid for. You know, they're not having the old beat up cars that they, you know, that they still have a loan on, and $100,000, you know, school loan. That's not what it is. And one of the things we looked at doing last year is having like an equity program where, because a lot of us have skills and a lot of us don't, but you might want to come and work on a house, kind of like what you're talking about, and add to it. And then we could give you like an equity credit towards your own purchase or your own home. So there's a lot of things I think we could talk about to kind of work with what you're doing here. Very good. Very good. So appreciate you tuning in, telling us that. And I definitely would like to talk to you more.
I put my email and phone number in there.
Thank you.
So give me a call.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Yeah, we'll do that. Let's look at setting up a time where we can talk a little bit more detail about some of this stuff. And I'd love to have you come and talk more. Hopefully you'll come every Friday. So, I mean, this is a great place to, if nothing else, listen and learn, you know, because we do talk to a lot of people and everybody's got different things going on.
Yeah, I've been trying to get on this call for since May. I think I was at the St. Louis Business Expo,
Yes.
and I met John.
We met.
and
We
his
met.
wife.
Yep.
And oh, you got that cap on. I didn't know that was you.
Yeah, I need a
knew the
haircut.
name
So
was John. And so yeah, I've been trying to, my mom, she has to have 24-hour care. And so Fridays are the days that I go down and get her breakfast. So my brother's getting her breakfast this morning for me. And then as soon as I get off here, I got to go down and get her.
yeah, yeah, I do. We talked a little bit. It just you guys had a booth there. We talked just a little bit about it, and yeah, we definitely want to know more about it. I know we kind of touched bases since then, but yeah, that's been May already, huh?
Yeah, it's going so fast. This year is
Okay.
running away.
In fact, there's another expo coming up. What is it? Is it October?
I think it's November. I got an
November
email
this
from
year.
them, but I'm like, I'm going to be too busy in November. It's too much hard work planning that stuff.
It is a lot. You do make some good contacts though, like yourself. In fact, one reason I like to go is just to meet people like yourself to see what's going on. And in fact, we've had a lot of speakers for our group that we've run into that, you know, we've shared, and it's always a great place for networking. Even if you don't have a booth, it's good to go.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. Maybe I'll stop through there and see if I can find more people that I can coordinate with on stuff. So,
In fact, there's always a good marketing section that starts before, because I think they open the doors about, I don't know, 11 or 12 o'clock. But the hour before, they always have in the side room, they have a marketing person in there, and they are just usually top notch. They'll have 50, like one of the things they'll do is 50 ways to market, you know, your business or your company. And I always am there early and take all the notes I can. And I'll tell you, honestly, probably about 30 out of the 50 are really, really good tips. So that's a way you can kind of network. It doesn't all apply to every business, but a lot of them do apply to your business, and you get some insider tips. So that's something you may want to just look at.
for sure. Good tip.
Tips are always good. But we meet people like yourselves that are out doing stuff, trying to make a difference in the community. And you don't get that just by, you know, by YouTube videos and everything else. I mean, those are all good ways for education to find out, you know, see how to do rehab stuff and just, you know, how to do some different investment things. But, you know, just meeting people in person, there's still nothing like it. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us, Ann. It's great. Renee, if you have something to say, you could feel free to unmute yourself. Say you want to, in the convo, I'm assuming you're meeting conversation.
Yeah, you said something about having a convo at another time. You know, or like doing a, you know, some kind of a meeting or a workshop. I just would like to be looped in on that if it happens, if that's all right.
Yeah, we'll definitely put some things together. Yes. All right. Good conversations today. Anybody have anything else they'd like to share with us? I know we got just a few minutes left. What time is it in Germany right now, Eric? Probably dinner time.
It's almost 7 o'clock.
Past
Evening.
dinner time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we appreciate you tuning in too, because I know you're doing some world traveling right now, and a lot of times you're in California too. So.
Yeah, I'm planning on making a trip to go to, while I'm here, going to Czech Republic.
Czech Republic. Wow.
Wow. Eric, I was in Germany last year. I was in Frankfurt. My best friend, she's German and she's from Frankfurt. So we went to her hometown, met her sister, and then we took a plane over to Marseille, and we went to Cassis and some other towns. We were following the Mary Magdalene Trail and had a great time. And food in Germany was awesome. I took so many pictures that Apple made me upgrade my and having space left.
Czech Republic's on my list to go to, hopefully one of these days. Supposed to be a nice place.
Well, I've been there several times because actually I lived in Germany for a while, and where I lived at in Germany, to drive to the Czech border was only 3 hours. So it's not really that far as people think it is. But I can only say that if you want to save on money, because most people speak about Prague. Prague, is a tourist town. But you probably want to, maybe look at other areas if you want to save money, as far as those things. My favorite town in Czech Republic is Pilsen.
Okay.
That's, if you're a beer drinker.
Oh, he froze.
Uh-oh. That's what happens to beer drinkers.
Yeah.
Oh, we've kind of lost Eric. Uh-oh. Yeah, Eric has a lot of experience over there. I know you lived over there for many years. And we're glad to have him back here in St. Louis, but apparently only
I'll have to get in touch with him before I go on that trip or plan the trip.
yes. And when are you going, Jim?
After I retire sometime. I haven't decided yet. Haven't set a date.
Are you flying your plane or are you
No, I'll be
Yes,
taking
sir.
Delta Airlines.
okay? That brings up a whole different set of circumstances, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, uh-oh. I think we did lose Eric. All right. Well, we'll hear back from him and Eric's got a lot of experience over there. I know that.
Good to know.
Yes. Yeah, Eric's a good guy. He's a good member of our group. Very valuable person here. All right. Anybody else have anything before we wrap it up today? I know we got just a couple minutes left. We like to be fairly punctual.
Just to update real quick, this is Princess. The person I had under contract was able to get her sister to pay her taxes for it, so she got to keep the house.
Nice. Congratulations on that.
Yes, it was a great month-long lesson, and I feel like I have a new contact.
Well, you could teach us a master class on that now, Princess.
Right.
I know you
I
went through a lot
appreciate
of
your
stuff.
help. Yeah.
Yeah. And it sounds like you made some good contacts with title companies and just in general on everything with that whole situation.
Oh yeah, for sure. My buyer's list looks very nice now. I'm pleased with it.
That's great. So now you're ready to jump into some of them tax properties, right?
Right, exactly. Get a couple deals on my own so I can go ahead and get my own tax property.
Yeah. Well, we kind of talked about that. The learning is in the doing, and I really, I really admire you for just hanging in there because a lot of people would not have gone that far, Princess. They would have given up, and you did not do that. You went the whole way and ran through the finish line. So I just, I appreciate that about you.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it. I appreciate the group. It was definitely great getting all the advice from everyone.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yep. And I hope you keep coming here and tell us about your next deal. You'll be bringing us deals here and probably be looking for some deals too, I would imagine.
Yes, yeah, I'm very excited too.
Mm.
All right. Anybody else got anything they'd like to share with us today?
I'll
Well,
say something real quick. It's a little off topic, but I see Eric back again, and I wanted to say I sold my car like 5 years ago to a family in Sofia, Bulgaria. And I have been to some parts of Europe. Bulgaria is not one of those parts. And I did a little research, but I have this, thing in my head. Well, next time I go to Europe, I want to get a hold of that family in Sofia, and maybe I could borrow the car for a few weeks. But then I thought also I probably should rent it because I know that he's fixing it up himself. The husband is, and I'm sure he's put some money and certainly a lot of horsepower, time into it. So I probably have to rent it from him. But then probably he doesn't want me to take the car. But anyway, there's that.
Oh, I got some, another tip, because I was told this does work, and I was told that if you put a sign on your car that say "We buy houses," that's a very, that's a very good tip.
Mm.
And my understanding, it does work very well, especially if you're like in a shopping center where a lot of cars there. And I was told by a couple of people, but I'm thinking about doing that myself, where they get a lot of, some good response.
Yeah,
Great
that's a-
point, Eric. Signs are really good. You do got to use some caution though, because sometimes when you put them on your car, I know my broker told me they could be considered a commercial vehicle. So if you're involved in an accident, things could happen. One of the things I did though, I know Laura Linnington, she's not here today, but she brought it up. One of the things I did for years is I had this little pickup truck and I lived on a busy street. And whenever I was not driving it, I put a sign in the front window and in the back window, and I'd get calls every week on that. But you could also do that, like you're talking about, Eric, at a parking lot, like wherever you go in the grocery store, stick that in your windshield. And the ones I bought the cheapest ones you could actually buy. I bought it from somebody, a class I took probably in 1999 or 2000, that said, and it just simply says, "We buy houses, cash or take over payments with my phone number." In fact, I still got a couple of them because I got and it was on the website. They're probably not around anymore, but it was like 50 signs for $89. Is what it was. And I bought them, and they actually gave me, I think, 10 bonus signs because I agreed to put out like 5 of theirs. But I used to use those all over the place. And I don't know, I couldn't even tell you how many houses I got off of those that I got for a good deal. And what really works great about the signs, like you're talking about, is people will call you after they've talked to everybody else. And that's really the ones you want anyway, because as you know, we're just kind of problem solvers. And I like the ones that already talked to the realtors that would not list their houses. You need too much, or whatever reason, I mean, there's lots of reasons why people don't sell them, but those really, the signs work great, like Eric's saying, and you could even make up your own. What I would not probably do is, you'll see a lot of these around that look like they're handwritten on yellow signs that people put out. And there was somebody teaching that a couple of years ago that they said that's the best way to do it. My experience is not, because you can't read them a lot of times, and they look kind of kind of like halfway done, like maybe you're not a professional. You don't want to look like, the guy's going to come in and steal the house, but you also want to look like somebody that knows what they're doing, somebody they can trust and get the job done. So, but signs, absolutely use signs. And you can put them on your own property too. You do have to be a little cautious of municipalities, because like in Florissant, where I lived, at first you could put the signs up, but then they pass an ordinance and they will fine you. And some people say put them up on the weekends, take them down on Sunday, and that's okay too. But they'll fine you like $600 for each occurrence. And I know Pacific, Missouri is the same way. But you can put them in your car when you're not driving, and you pretty much don't have a problem with insurance or anything. At least that's what I ran into. So it's a great way to do it. And not a lot of people are doing that too. But the other thing is, you need to answer your phone, because a lot of people will not leave messages these days, including myself. A lot of times I don't do it because I get so many spam calls and everything else. So, let's see, we got. Okay, looks like we got a message from, is it Angela Channel? You feel free to unmute yourself if you'd like to talk to us here. Looks like you got a sober living home in St. Louis, or looking to open one.
Gotta go get mom, guys. I'll see you next time.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
Ann, thanks for joining us. Angela, can you unmute yourself? Maybe not, sometimes you can't. Just got a message in there. Look, I'll just read it here. First time in attendance, lives in Los Angeles, in a group for home spaces, looking to open a sober living home in St. Louis, my hometown. I'm not ready to buy a home, just interested in partnering with landlords who have a home or a few homes to launch these group homes. Does anyone in the group have any interest in strategic partnering, or knowing anyone who may have interest in partnering?
Okay. Hello.
Mhm.
Hi, Angela.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. You're unmuted now.
Okay, yes. Thank you. But yes, that's what I was like interested in anyone like interested in strategically partnering in opening group homes, specifically sober living homes, domestic violence homes, veteran homes. So I'm looking to open a few in different areas to assist.
Yeah, that's a good strategy. I know a couple people that have done that. I have not done it myself, Angela.
Right.
Do you do that in Los Angeles right now?
I'm in the process of working on it here now, but the prices, as you know, in LA are astronomical. And what you would charge a client, it's just overwhelming. So I'm looking into Missouri because I'm from there and I know it's way more affordable and there's definitely a need as well.
Yes, absolutely. And I know typically, depending on how you have it set up, uh,
Mhm.
it's a little bit different situation, but typically you'll get a lot more for your properties being a landlord or somebody that uses that strategy.
Right, right. And like I'm in a group home Facebook group, and that's how a lot of people start because they'll meet landlords who just want to make sure they have a stable income because it's a guaranteed income. We're working with people who have a consistent check, like through the VA or disability. So it's not, you're not depending on someone, your average renter who has a job who could possibly get laid off. It's definitely a check that comes the first of the month. So a lot of landlords really appreciate that and they're willing to, partner.
Yeah, there's ways you can set those homes up too and have it to where people can, kind of come and go as needed too. With what
Right,
I'm familiar with, and it's a good way to do it. Uh,
right.
yeah. So do you have any contact information you'd like to share with us, Angela?
Yeah, I can put it in the chat.
Okay, and also if you don't mind giving it to us verbally, just for anybody that might be watching the replay.
Okay,
You
sure.
typically
I can give you my phone number. Anyone can reach out if they're interested, and I can explain more. It's 310-420-1055.
okay.
And my email, I can be reached at care, CARE, COM, dot homes, HOMES, at Gmail.
Okay, that's CARECOM
Mm-hmm.
dot HOMES at Gmail.
At Gmail, correct.
Yeah, and in fact, that's something you may want to check into a couple of times on
Okay.
Fridays if you're able to, because different
Yeah.
people show up every week, Angela,
Okay.
and just a matter of seeing the right person at the right time with that, because it
Perfect.
is a good strategy.
Thank you. Thank
I'd
you.
also be curious to see what you run into in Los Angeles, because I know people out there, and it's a
Yeah.
whole different world. Stuff you can make cash flow really well here does not work out there sometimes.
True. That's very true. I mean, there are a few places, a few people that I know that do have group homes here. But it's like I said, the prices of homes are astronomical. And the rent per bed would be, you know, unattainable for a lot of people. And many of the people that do this, they are retired, they've had a home, it's paid for, so they're not worried about, you know, getting a mortgage on those. So that's pretty much the hindrance here. So I always want to make it like affordable housing for people as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be, sober living or, targeted, but just the general affordable housing idea.
Mhm.
Like the lady was speaking about before. I would love to get her information, reach out to her as well.
Yeah, it sounds kind of along the lines of Ann, because I know we talked to her it was actually back in May originally. I'm so glad
Yeah.
she tuned in today too, but she has so many good ideas and she works
Right.
with people. And see, a lot of us don't know where to go. And that's one thing
Yeah.
that's worked real well about our group here on Friday is because a lot of people are in a lot of different industries, and there are money people here. There are people with experiences fixing the houses up, our
Right.
different areas. One of the things about St. Louis, as you probably know, being from here, Angela,
Mhm.
is the neighborhoods are a lot different sometimes from block to block.
Right.
You
Right.
want to make it safe and affordable. So that's huge.
Right. That is huge. And I know there's a lot of opportunity there. And especially like with Anne who networks with other organizations. So that's what we're doing here. In LA, I know they've pushed in lots of money to help with the homeless situation. And there's a lot of money in grants to be had, but it's finding out where to go, who to reach out to. Like, the money's there, but you don't know who specifically to, reach out and explain exactly how these funds can be allotted for your goals.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. That's yeah, like I said, if you can tune in, other Fridays too,
I will.
and just say, just say who you are and what you do, just like you did. That's excellent.
Okay.
We'll keep an eye out, and I am going to talk to Ann. I want to reach out to her to see about her talking to our group, because
Okay.
I
Beautiful.
know, there's a lot of good things, and working together, we can get a lot more done.
Right. That's so true. And that's what I'm looking for. We have a group in LA such as this. It's real estate, REIA in Los Angeles, but we don't have the Zoom calls or meetings like this, unfortunately. So, yeah, my father was telling me, well, look here in St. Louis, there's a lot of real estate, and I did, and it popped right up. And this is my first meeting here. So,
Oh, that's great.
excellent.
Is your father still here?
Yeah. Well, he lives in like Potosi, Missouri, which
Oh, okay.
is like 70 miles south of St. Louis.
It's
Yeah, my
about
parents.
Yeah, it's about 15 miles from where I'm at right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, yeah, and he was in real estate. He's always bought properties and sold things as well. And had experience with that growing up.
Uh-huh.
And, he thinks it's a great idea. And he's a veteran, from the Army veteran. And so he was like, reach out to the VA in St. Louis. And so that's what I'm doing.
Absolutely. Yeah, your father's a smart man.
He is. He's amazing.
Nice.
So, yeah, this has been great. I really enjoyed this Zoom call, and I will be here as often as possible.
Well, thank you, Angela. Yeah, and feel free to pop in anytime. We also do have other events, and you can always look at the REIA website, STLREIA.com. And they're not as good. I will tell you, you'll get the most current information here on Friday, because the webmaster is in another place, and they're not always good getting our stuff on
Yeah,
timely, like I think. But you can always come here to find out everything.
perfect. Yeah, it's much better than the one we have here in LA,
Well,
because I thought it was defunct. And then finally someone reached out to me and said there was a meeting in another like 30, 40 miles away. And I was just like, okay, so that's all. You don't get much help. So I really appreciate this group.
well, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're
Appreciate
welcome. It's
Yep.
nice talking to you.
You too.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Okay, you too. All right. Anybody else have anything they want to share? We went just a couple minutes over, but I think we got a lot in today, a lot of good conversation. I will have the replay on YouTube by midnight tonight. That's always my rule, usually a little sooner. I won't be driving this afternoon, so I probably will get it on this afternoon, but you can always check back on the website in the member section, or just go to, I put them on my YouTube site. It's John Lee from Mo .1 or -1, I think is what it is. They made me put a dash in there because I used it for something else, but that's where we put all the REIA replays. So if nothing else, good talking to everybody. Good seeing you. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you,
Thanks.
John.